I wonder why we've all been called in here.
Why don't we ask old Mystic Mike over there? Can't you psychically deduce it?
Shut your cake hole, spoiler. Why don't you go and tweet about the end of some show everybody cares about?
You want me to actually spoil something for you?
You can't. I already know everything. Mystic, remember?
You're not Mystic, you're a charlatan, like in The Prestige when it turns out Christian Bale had a twin brother all along.
Come over here and say that.
Can't, mate, I've got to stay here.
Oh, why? Why is that then?
Just because, mate.
Oh, I?
Yeah.
Oh, I?
Yeah.
Sorry I'm late, everyone. I was catching up on Bake Off. Right, what have I missed?
Hello, Rebecca.
Oh, God, what do you want?
Why don't you come and sit yourself down over here?
I prefer standing if it's all the same to you.
Right, thanks for coming, everyone. You're probably all wondering why we've called you in.
You've run out of script ideas.
No.
You've murdered Nathan and you need us to help you hide the body.
No.
You've murdered Dave and you need us to...
Shut up, Mike. Look, I'm just going to come out and say it. The badger is gone. The badger's gone. Jimmy, you can't spoil something I've literally just said. Stop tweeting it. Look, he handed in his resignation this morning. He says he's unhappy with the lack of screen time he's been getting recently. He doesn't feel we do enough skits in the Friday features anymore.
I'm not surprised you keep putting me in them instead, like I don't have better things to be getting on with.
Yeah, but you're really easy to write.
What?
That's it, sound annoyed. Look, the gist of it is the badger is gone. I don't know what his future plans are, but as of now, there is no more Delsin. No more Delsin, no more easy badger jokes, no more hilarious puppet cruelty. It's time to move on. Here are 7 times Videogames axed our favourite characters, and we just couldn't deal with it. Delsin's in our first entry. No, not that Delsin. He's gone and he's never coming back, remember? I'm talking about the actual Delsin. Delsin Rowe from infamous Second Son, voiced and faced by Troy Baker, the grimy, beanie-wearing poster boy of PS4's early years, who went around Seattle blowing things up with fire and neon and looking perpetually pleased with himself. Delsin was cool, so cool in fact that we got the little jacket that came with the infamous Second Son Collector's Edition, and we put it on a badger puppet to create Delsin Rodent. But that didn't stop us feeling sad about the whole no Cole McGrath thing. A character who we'd grown to love over the first 2 infamous games, a character we'd developed with and made decisions for, and in my case, with whom we'd been an evil, thunder-wielding supervillain. Oh, Cole, how I miss your easy-to-render on PS3 bald head and your electric hands. He was one of the first characters I got to play with on PS3, and so I feel there's an unbreakable bond between Cole and myself. We discovered HD together, pushed the boundaries of open-world exploration hand in hand. Except the unbreakable bond did then break and there was no Cole in Second Son. Still, at least we get this smart little Easter egg to remind us of the good times, Cole McGee's Electronics. It's comforting to know that after saving the world, or not saving the world, that Cole settled down and opened up a map lens. Next up, we've got another hero of the early PS3 years, Nathan Hale from the Resistance series. Big spoilers for Resistance 2 are coming up, by the way. The third point in PS3's angry, bald hero triangle opposite Cole and Kratos. I felt an immediate affinity for Hale. And no, not because he's bald. I actually had hair when Fall of Man came out in 2007, thank you very much. So you can stop whatever clever joke you're currently typing in the comments. Because he was fighting to save Britain. Good old Blighty was the setting for Resistance, and it had fields and bad weather and Cheshire, and so instantly made me feel right at home. So, and here come the Resistance 2 spoilers, when he eventually succumbs to the Chimera virus and is killed by Joseph Capelli, a man with hair, I was very, very sad indeed. Then Resistance 3 comes along, which I really think is brilliant by the way, and not talked about nearly enough, with Capelli as the protagonist, and yeah, he's a great guy and all, but playing as the person who killed the person you used to play as, I mean, way to help us get over our grief, Resistance 3. Every time you see Capelli in a cutscene, it's like, oh yeah, Hale's dead. Just finished that difficult fight, yeah, I'm feeling pumped, oh yeah, Hale's dead. Oh, this opening is totally hitting me right in the emotion sack, and oh yeah, Hale's dead as well. Entry number 3. Mass Effect is a series that attaches its characters to your heart with grappling hooks and then has them wildly abseil towards certain death for 50 hours, making you constantly feel like both ventricles are going to explode out of your ribcage. So when we spend a huge portion of Mass Effect 1 falling in love with telekinesis expert and queen of sass Liara Tassoni, only for our favourite Asari to then be axed from your team in Mass Effect 2...
No!
Rob, there are other Asari you can have in
I don't want other Asari. I want Liara.
Well, you can't have...
I'm phoning
Liara.
BioWare.
They're not going to...
Hello? Hi, can I speak to BioWare, please? Yeah. Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm about halfway through Mass Effect 2, and it doesn't look like Liara is part of my squad. Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, I don't care about Samara or Morinth. Well, I suggest you make a DLC pack where Liara is in your squad, because that is just completely unacceptable.
And that's the true story of how Lair of the Shadow Broker came to be. You're welcome. Next up, we've got Final Fantasy X and its ridiculous decision to not include Moogles in the game. Everyone's favourite not really cats but definitely cats that appear in pretty much every other Final Fantasy.
They're even in the spin-off titles. I mean, come on, Final Fantasy X, what are you playing at?
I mean, it's not like 10 decided to go uber realistic or anything, you know, it's got a sport where people hold their breath for 5 minutes at a time while scoring physically impossible goals underwater. The main villain's a flying whale, one of your party members is a big blue bipedal lion, but oh, adding some cute little cat things, that's taking it too far.
Imagine having like an adorable animal in the thing you make, and everyone loves it and is always like, oh yeah, I love the animal, more of the animal, and you get rid of it.
Some of Lulu's dolls are Moogles, but that doesn't cut it in my humble opinion. They're not in 15 either. I mean, maybe I wouldn't mind so much if I hadn't recently got my hands on Final Fantasy IX again and remembered how much fun it is to annoy the Moogles on the world map.
Alright, I'll actually save it this time, I promise. LOL, not really.
Tekken 3 is next up with its outrageous decision to cut Martial Law from the roster and instead include his son, Forest Law. Forest has essentially the exact same moveset as his dad, he's basically a reskin, but that is not what I wanted, Tekken 3.
Martial Law is reduced to a cameo in Forest Law's Victory CG movie. Not good enough.
Marshall was the first character I ever finished a Tekken arcade mode with. He was my main man in Tekkens 1 and 2. We had something together. And then in Tekken 3, he left me. He left me and opened up his restaurant, which forced me to run off with Huarang, who's been my main ever since.
It's your own fault, Marshall. I didn't want to do it, but you weren't in Tekken 3, were you? And also, Huarang's really easy to button bash with, so...
Entry number 6 is Resident Evil 6 and its chronic lack of Albert Wesker, the classic villain behind the curtain who's basically involved, directly or indirectly, with every naughty thing that's ever gone down in the Resiverse. And yes, I know, he quite definitely died at the end of Resident Evil 5 by being shot in the face with a rocket launcher while floundering helplessly in a pool of white-hot lava.
But if I had £1 for every time Albert Wesker had quite definitely died over the course of this series, I'd have like £4.
Come on, hands up who else thought he'd crop up at some point during Resident Evil 6, or even Resi 7, you know. It wouldn't have surprised me at all if at some point the Baker house had just evaporated into lines of code to be replaced with a sterile white room with a voice echoing round it like, ha 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 ha, Ethan, thank you for playing my little simulation of a survival horror game. You've provided some excellent combat data which I'm now going to sell to... whichever faceless corporation is mad enough to buy combat data. Ha 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 ha! Yes, it's me, Albert Wesker.
That didn't happen, but it should have.
Our final entry is the entry that inspired this entire list. Obviously, it's the whole no Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 2 thing, which isn't even true because he is in it, and you do play as him. It's just like, you know... that feeling when you're 1-0 up in the 90th minute and you concede an equaliser, and even though you've still got a point, it still feels like a defeat.
That's right, have a football analogy. Either way, 15 years after this game came out and I still haven't quite got over the fact that I only get to be Snake for 2 hours.
Can you imagine keeping something like that secret in 2017? An age where we already know what's going to happen in the next 3 seasons of The Walking Dead. Where even though I haven't seen it yet, I can pretty much watch the entirety of Blade Runner 2049 if I look at all the GIFs on Twitter in the right order. I watched this trailer, still to this day the best video game trailer ever made, don't at me, for MGS2 over and over and over. There's not even a whiff of Raiden in this.
Sneaky, sneaky Hideo Kojima, why do I still love you?
Because your games are still amazing. Because let's be honest, you could play through Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty as a turnip and it would still be one of the best games of its generation. And there we go, 7 times video games axed our favourite characters and we just couldn't deal with it. Can you think of any other examples? Let us know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more of these videos every Friday. Where's the end slate? Has someone tampered with this?
Delsin Rodent, you have traveled far. You seek vengeance on your former masters. You seek to punish them for not putting more skits in the Friday features. You want to bring down PlayStation Access once and for all. Then approach, my child. Your training begins today.